Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. And this audio has perplexed me and Case for 2 days. 2 days. And deciding whether we should play it on the air or not. And now we've decided yes. And we played it for Kenzie to get her take on it. And it's basically about revenge dating to get someone you love or like back in the picture by dating somebody else. That they might be mad that you're dating that person.
Right. Or just to do it just to piss them off.
That too.
Just revenge in general.
And never go back with that other person.
Yeah.
Not just you're done.
Just revenge.
So here's the audio. It's Kelly Stafford, who is the wife of Matt Stafford, the NFL Super Bowl winning quarterback with the Lions for many years, as obviously our Bears fans know. Then he went to the Rams, wins the Super Bowl, and deservingly so after 15 years of service with the Lions.
It's like he did a tour of war.
A prison term. Then he gets a Super Bowl, and they have a great marriage. I believe they have 4 kids.
That's a lot.
And they're a fun...
Yes, it is.
4 girls, too, I believe. Woo-hoo! And they're just really fun to watch. They're likable. And she's kind of wild. She's shown some wild side stuff. And she talks about in college when they were dating, because I believe he went to Georgia.
He did.
Yeah, so they were dating in college, and they were kind of going in and out of dating seriously or not. And she said what she did to get his attention.
Wait, so was he trying to casually date and you were all in?
Oh, yeah, girl. Anyways, long story short, it wasn't that cute of a relationship at first. I hated him. I loved him. I dated the backup to piss him off, which
Oh,
worked.
yes.
He was like,
That'll do it.
He was the bad boy, too. Like, Matthew's so sweet and Southern gentleman and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And the backup was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it upset him. So they lived in the same dorm because athletes lived in the same dorm, and he would see my car there. And so at one point, he, like, waited and followed me out and got in my car and wouldn't get out.
Stop.
And he was
You're
like,
this is so hot.
I was like, this is amazing. Working.
Yeah.
I was get out of my car, and he was like, he's not right for you. And I was like, what? You can't tell me that.
So she starts dating the backup quarterback, and then he doesn't leave her car.
Love it. So she did everything right in this scenario. This is fantastic. This is flawlessly executed. I'm just like, wow. Play-by-play is fantastic on
Is she an
this.
American hero in your eyes?
I mean, way to figure it out. You're dating the backup quarterback. Awesome. Same team. Love that. Also, they all live in the same dorm. This is crucial that he sees your car in the parking lot. Very helpful. Otherwise, he can talk himself out of the fact that maybe you're not sleeping with somebody else. Now he knows. Perfect. Well done. And I love also dating somebody polar opposite personality. It's going to bother them, right? It's always the guy who's not doing right by you. He's like, well, that guy's not right for you. And it's like, well, neither are you. You're not behaving correctly. So that's fascinating. I love it. She really figured this out in a great way.
It's an amazing take that you took from that. Because me and Case heard this audio and goes, if we were in that situation, what would we do? If we were Matt Stafford and your girl that you liked starts dating the backup quarterback, and both of us agreed, we would just go, well, she might like him. They must get along better. I wish him the best.
Yeah, I tip my cap to you, sir. Congratulations.
I don't think
isn't true. That's not true. I'm going to tell you why. Because you're thinking of approaching a woman at a bar, and so did another guy, and she called him instead. Yeah, you're not revenge dating in that scenario. They were a couple, and he dropped the ball because she wanted to be more serious, okay? So now, in his eyes, it's like, ugh, I messed up. I could have had her. Now someone else has her. And unfortunately, especially at this age, these are not typically, your 40-year-old games. These are younger. This is different tactics when they turn 40. But, they don't take things seriously often until it seems real that you're actually going to be gone. So this is a smart thing to do because she really, really liked him and wanted to be more serious. He probably wasn't concerned that was going to go anywhere. You have to make the threat real.
Brian, I think Kenzie's onto something, and I want to throw a scenario your way.
Amen.
Maybe this will help us understand it, because you and I are not the revenge dating types. You and I, throughout life, I think, have been like, oh my God, a woman wants to spend time with me. We don't try to double our odds. We don't try to get 2 women to spend time with us.
Well, also, if she started dating the backup quarterback, I would just go home and play Halo.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's what she wants, and whatever happens, happens.
I'm going to go home and play as the backup quarterback in the college football video game. That's what's going to happen.
Correct.
But imagine if you did something that pissed your wife, Megan, off. And she left, let's say she moved out temporarily. She left home. And she started seeing me. You'd probably lock yourself in her car and say, "Hey, this is not the guy for you, honey. Take me back. You need to come home."
Listen, you would start slaying like you don't even know what he does in private. I know what he does in private. If Case was fucking your life,
I'm processing all this right now because you blew my mind a little bit on that one.
What happens
Case blew Megan's back out. Just imagine.
if you have a Mac computer, when it freezes and it gives you the rainbow wheel, that's what Brian's head just did.
Yeah.
He couldn't compute this for a second.
The problem is, I wouldn't lock myself in a car and say, Case is wrong for you. They'd be finding your body parts in dumpsters.
That's what I'm saying. Now you're understanding what we're doing.
I think I understand the project now.
There you go.
Yeah, I
And
think I got
suddenly
it.
you would want your wife more, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
See?
But I want her a lot now. I mean, you scared me already. Is something going on I don't know
I was
about?
just going to get flowers. I just talking about it. It's men, unfortunately, not all of them, because I know there's going to be like, I already appreciate her. I get that. But a lot of men don't take things serious until it's actually a threat. You're like, what's she going to do? And then when she does it, you're like, well, that's not good. And then you realize what she's going to do or what she could do. And sometimes you have to dangle that there to create a sense of urgency. I think it's a little bit natural because, like, men, not you guys, are supposed to be hunters. And I think that that's why guys often are good at pursuing the relationship. It gets them, like, all into it. And when you create that feeling again, it gets, like, I don't know, it gets, like, the testosterone pumping or something. It's crazy.
Frank checked in actually interesting at 224. He said, didn't Megan do this to Brian when she told him to get a passport?
Wow.
Because she said, otherwise I'll be going all over the world with my friends and not you. And I got a passport.
Yeah,
It's a
did
little
you
bit.
want Megan's fine ass in other countries with other women without you? Exactly.
I want that.
Same concept.
Okay, I think I finally understand it. It took a minute. We've been listening to this audio for days, and all I can think of was dating the backup quarterback made Matt Stafford eventually go to her and win her over. And they've been married for, I think, 15 years, 20 years,
Yeah,
close
just
to it
about,
now,
yeah.
with 4 kids, and it worked out. And you can join this conversation at 312-591-8300. I'd love to hear more examples where this worked out, revenge dating.
Well, I've done it.
Of course. Of course you have.
Well, I did it only for revenge. I didn't do it to get somebody back because I didn't want the person back. So my high school sweetheart going into college cheated on me.
Oh, boy.
Okay. And
That's-
yeah, well, I got
Sorry
cheated on a lot.
that
It's like-
happened.
Shocker.
He went beyond cheating. He actually got somebody pregnant, and then tried to convince me he didn't cheat on me. And I go, I don't know what you think I think about. Like I know where children come from. You trip and fall into her. Like I don't know what you're trying to sell me right now. It's bag
kind
of
of
dreams.
It's kind of like dusting for evidence of cheating a baby is that.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
No, I think you did.
It's
And
science.
I'll never forget because he goes, no. It was just one time, and we had gotten in an argument. And I said, so for 5 years have you been sleeping with people every time we got in an argument? Did you think that every time we disagreed, you've been sleeping with people? I didn't know.
Listen, I do respect him coming with that comeback.
Oh, I love the logic behind it.
It was just one time because we got in a fight. Hey,
I was like, do you think? I'm like, it was the time we argued? Never mind. I got plowed by everybody. It's like, what are you talking about?
remember when we couldn't decide to go to Chipotle or
Yeah.
Jimmy John's?
That's when I slept with her.
Yeah, that was it.
God.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he really wanted to be a professional athlete. I won't even say what sport, but like that's what he was going for. It didn't happen. Spoiler alert.
Must
By
have
the
been
way, me
badminton.
too.
Yeah.
So after he cheated on me and got a girl pregnant, I dated his favorite player that he like aspired
His
to be.
favorite player?
Yes, in the sport,
Can you say what sport?
football.
So you dated Joe Montana after that.
I'm not gonna say what I dated. But I dated his favorite player, and I was trying to get him back when I was trying to get him back. You
Sure.
know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not raising your child, but
From the whore.
yeah. Well, it was more him than her. She sucked too though, because she knew me. But anyways, it's a whole deep dive.
Wow, there's a lot to the story.
That's a lot. But yeah, and boy, did he dislike that. I got messages for an extended amount of time. That baby was alive, and I was still getting text messages about that.
It was a live baby. It
It was
was the evidence of cheating. It was growing up. It's a person now.
Yeah, it was growing up, and I was still getting texts.
All right. Well, I'd love our listeners to chime in on this too, because I guess me and Case are still baffled on this idea of revenge dating to get to somebody that you want. or in Kenzie's situation, just for payback. But 312-591-8300, you can join this conversation because if it worked out for you, great success story. Share them.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Coming up after the break, about 10 minutes away, we will give you the Glass Animals keyword, a chance to see the Glass Animals in Nashville, a free trip, VIP style, coming up for you. So 8:20, we'll have that for you. Now, we were talking about this piece of audio we played from Kelly Stafford, the wife of Matt Stafford in the NFL, and how they were dating and they were falling off a little bit. And so she started dating the backup quarterback to get his attention, and then that pissed him off, and he got in her car and said, he's wrong for you, and now they've been married for 20 years through the NFL with 4 kids, and it's a happy marriage. Revenge dating got her husband, and me and Case were baffled by this, and then Kenzie apparently not baffled at all. And
No.
perfect execution, as she said.
Flawlessly executed. No flag on the play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Kelly Stafford, very likable, very fun girl, and same with Matt Stafford, too. They're a great couple. So just looking for your conversation with this, and John from Kankakee has something that relates in this situation. John, ahoy, what's going on?
What's going on, guys?
All right, well, tell your story. About revenge dating? Is that kind of where you're going?
Yeah, kind of. So I had a big group of friends. All of us guys, we always said we wouldn't date each other's exes or go after them or anything like that.
That's a good rule, by the way. That's called guy code.
It is. So my son's mother at the time, we were broken up, and one of my friends tried to buy her a bunch of drinks at the bar and was trying to get her to come home. She, is a fairly tall girl, and he was kind of short, so she wasn't interested. So she told me about it the next day. And so his ex at the time decided to start calling me up, and I decided why not, and I went ahead and slept with her.
Whoa!
Oh, damn.
Okay.
Jeez, I bet the mother of your son was like, well, I really wish I wouldn't have told him. I didn't know he was going to get
Yeah,
revenge.
she was pretty upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just because he made the attempt and failed, you went through with it.
Yeah, I figured I should do that.
Layup. Woo!
Okay, so how did it play out after that?
Well, she ended up telling him because, she was probably just using me because, to get back at him for something, who knows. So it came out about it, and he asked me about it, and I didn't hide it. I said, well, you tried, and I succeeded.
Oh, boy.
Oh. Put your American flag on the moon. Look at you go.
Now, are you guys still friends because you broke that code? You're not friends anymore or what?
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have just wiped the slate clean, tit for tat. I mean, I guess he didn't get the
That's what I
tat. So he's upset.
He didn't do tit or tat.
Yeah, he didn't get the tit or tat.
Yeah.
He got back with that girl, so they're kind of together, live happily ever after, so
Oh, no. And now you're Eskimo brothers, and he's just going to live with that with his wife.
Hey, he shouldn't have messed around. He fucked around and found out.
Okay. What he said, I'm going to translate.
Yeah, could you please put that in English terms? Right?
He said he effed around and found out.
Yes,
Well
he
said.
did.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. It's Wednesday, right here around 8:20. We do this every week. Head to headlines, where we give you 2 headlines, and based on the headline alone, you decide what story you want to hear us chop up. Now, the catch is we'll never talk about the other story again, so you have to choose wisely on the text line at 312-591-8300. So here we go. Headline number 1, your choice of the content. Man riding tricycle on beach gets into fight with another man over flashlight with machete.
That's a lot going on.
There's a lot in that headline.
I may need that one twice.
Man riding tricycle on beach gets into fight with another man over flashlight with machete.
Who has the machete?
That's
the guy.
exactly what I was going to say. Because I'm like, man on beach, bike, flashlight, and I don't know where to put the machete.
And if I had a nickel for every time that's happened.
Yeah.
And that's why we do head to headlines, because the headline says that. But if you really want to know more, you're already intrigued, you have to pick that story. Text in headline number 1.
It's got to be the guy on the bike, because why would you ever initiate a fight with somebody already holding a machete?
Never do that.
I wouldn't do that.
If you take anything away from this show.
Yeah.
I don't care if a guy's got a machine gun. If the other guy's got a machete, do not fight that person.
He's insane.
Yeah, it takes a certain type of person to have a machete in the first place.
Yeah. So I can't tell you anymore. That's the headline right there. That's headline 1. If you want to hear more on that story, text in headline number 1 at 312-591-8300. Now, the second one, Kenzie, is a little easier to understand.
What?
Here's headline number 2. Florida bill would make it easier to kill bears on crack.
What?
Listen, again, there's a lot to unpack there and to maybe dive into. First off, there are bears on crack.
I think both involve machetes.
I'm not sure. They're both from Florida, by the way. Both these stories are from Florida.
That's where we just go to Florida sometimes.
Yeah. So Florida bill would make it easier to kill bears on crack. If you want to hear more on that story, text in headline number 2 right now at 312-591-8300. It is Head to Headlines with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. After Franz Ferdinand, we break it down.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. As we do every Wednesday around this time, Head to Headlines, where you choose the content we talk about. I give you 2 headlines, and then you choose on the headline alone what story interests you the most, and then we go into it. The kicker is that we never talk about the other story again. So choose wisely, and people did choose wisely, like almost 100% on this one, but we'll tell you the results in a second. Headline number 1 was, man riding tricycle on beach gets into fight with another man over flashlight with machete.
Ooh.
Now, to Kenzie's point, we can't figure out from the headline who had the machete.
I know, and my gut says guy on bicycle, because how would he be willing to get into a fight with somebody who's holding a machete?
Well, if we read this story, where do you hear where the machete ended up and where it started?
You know what I voted for.
1?
Yep.
Oh, headline number 2 was, Florida bill would make it easier to kill bears on crack. Now, certainly an interesting story, I guess, but barely anybody chose it, right? It's like
Barely. No, this isn't even close. We got like 2 votes for that story and like 7,500 for headline number 1.
Okay. Well, then I'm excited to share this story with you, and please stick around for the end. You're not going to believe how this resolved. This machete fight with a tricycle and a flashlight all involved.
I would imagine one person's left standing is what it sounds like.
You have no idea how this ended, okay? I trust me, you're going to be blown away, but let's get to the story right now. Here we go. Man riding tricycle on beach gets into fight with another man over flashlight with machete. Mm-hmm. This happened in Volusia County, Florida, which I had to look up. That is Daytona Beach.
Oh, there you go.
I've been there for spring break, bike week. It is raging. It is wild. I don't know if it still is anymore, but it used to be the Wild West of spring break, Daytona Beach.
I think it still is.
It probably is.
I think it still reigns supreme.
So here we go. A man got into a fight with another man early Sunday at the beach over his tricycle's flashlights, the Volusia Sheriff's Office said. Deputies responded to a stabbing call around 1 a.m. in the beach area. They said a victim was riding a tricycle down the beach while using a flashlight as a headlight for the tricycle. Now, this is an adult, by the way.
I was going to say, it's really hard to picture a grown man on a tricycle just casually.
I mean, don't you remember when you were a kid, like you would take something like that and just take duct tape and put a flashlight in your tricycle, possibly? Like you just said, this would be cool right here.
No, I do remember being on a tricycle as a kid and still thinking this is kind of uncomfortable. So I can't imagine as an adult.
Yeah, tricycles. I don't know if it was one of those old-fashioned-y tricycles, like Mr. Peanut rides or whatever.
Well, does he ride a tricycle or does he ride the bike that has the one big wheel and the one small wheel?
Oh, you're right. That's not a tricycle.
Mr. Peanut does not ride a tricycle.
I'm sorry.
Wait, what is Mr. Let me Google that.
I didn't want to disparage Mr. Peanut's name. He rides the tiny second wheel and the huge front wheel.
Which I don't understand how those work either.
Yeah, that's just called a bicycle, I guess. Just an old-fashioned bicycle.
Yeah, I would love to see Mr. Peanut on a tricycle, but we don't live in that world.
Well, while Kenzie's looking on Mr. Peanut's bicycle.
I know. Apparently there's a Nutmobile, so I just went down a totally. I was like, "What is Mr. Peanut ride?" And then the Nutmobile came up. It's kind of like the Wiener Wagon, but it's a massive peanut.
Oh no, I know all about the Nutmobile.
Oh, okay. So they said the victim was riding a tricycle down the beach while using a flashlight as headlights for the trike. Deputies said the victim approached. So the victim is the guy on the tricycle. Okay, the victim approached an unknown man who didn't like his tricycle shining a flashlight at him at 1 a.m. on the beach.
That seems fair.
I mean, I don't know what he said to him. There was an argument started. I don't know if he said, like, turn off your flashlight or stop shining it at me. The victim was knocked off his tricycle. That's too bad. But it got worse.
You think you'd have good balance on a tricycle?
Yeah, do you, like, Do you push him over like there's two wheels in the back, obviously. Do you push him to the side and he's over? He knocked him off a trike. I think he'd be pretty stable on the trike. So the suspect then, this is the kicker here. The suspect armed himself with a machete that the victim happened to have in the basket on his tricycle.
What? That was okay. Well, I was right.
Well, so the guy on the trike had the machete, but like they always say, don't bring a weapon along. It might get taken from you and used on you.
So he had the tricycle, the flashlight, and the machete, and he's now off the tricycle, has no flashlight, and the machete was taken from him.
He might still have the flashlight at this point.
But what good does it do if he's not on the tricycle?
He shined it in their eyes.
So there's the bicycle, the flashlight, the machete, and a basket on the tricycle too, by the way, which was a new little wrinkle in this one.
That has to be a big-ass basket.
Yeah. So the suspect took the machete off the trike. Now, they said the suspect hit the victim on the right thigh with his own machete. And then the two began struggling over the weapon after that. I mean, I would too. It's my machete, and he took it from me.
You know what I'm imagining because of the tricycle in the scenario? You know when you go to like a pool and you have a noodle and somebody bends it backwards and starts hitting it with you and you're like laying on your pool noodle? That's how you're probably like, damn it, that was mine.
That was my noodle.
That was my machete.
Except you can survive that one.
Yeah, no, this has more, more worries attached to it.
So the guy in the trike got hit in the thigh with the machete, and they struggled over the weapon. The victim took the machete back, his own machete, but accidentally then cut his left hand on the machete.
Oh, that's too bad.
So now his thigh and his hand are bleeding from his own machete. He should have grabbed it first when the guy started arguing.
Don't bring a machete to a flashlight fight.
Right. Exactly. Deputies said the victim drove away on his tricycle. He drove away on the tricycle.
It's a sad visual.
Isn't it right away?
Also, I would imagine you could run faster. Like, did the guy catch up? Like, that's slow.
So he's bleeding from his thigh and his hand from his own machete. Maybe he put the machete back in the basket, drove away on the tricycle, called 911, and is eventually taken to the hospital. Investigators said they found a possible person of interest at A1 and Main Street. Must be a big intersection down there. During the interview, the suspect, so this is the guy that grabbed the machete from the trike basket, denied anything about being in a fight on the beach and said he cut his hand on glass at Dirty Harry's bar.
Wow, that's a real possibility. Anything goes down at Dirty Harry's.
Yeah, he just said, like, I wasn't there. I wasn't a part of that at all. I just cut my hand on a glass.
It wasn't me. It was some other guy with a tricycle.
You would think, by the way, if you had a tricycle and a machete, that you could essentially joust anybody that came into conflict with you. That's like hood jousting. You would just pedal and stab at the same time, and you would think that would solve all your issues.
Well, the issue is that the machete was in a basket. It wasn't on hand.
That's right. That's right. You can never put your machete in a basket.
Well, if you got your weapons stowed away.
Yeah, what good does it do?
Amen. Why'd you even bring the machete?
This all would have been avoided if he didn't bring the machete.
Well, this all would have been avoided had he not been an adult on a tricycle.
Well, listen, in fairness, I don't think any of us have gone on a bike ride and thought I should leave my machete at home. So, sorry. Obviously, he has to.
So the suspect denied being involved. He said he was at Dirty Harry's bar. That's how he cut his hand in the fight. Deputies did not have enough to hold the suspect, so they photographed him and released him. That's the end of the story. So no one got charged for a pretty big machete fight at 1 a.m. involving a tricycle and a flashlight on the beach.
Well, you look at machete fights. This was a pretty big one.
Per scale.
At least 3 cuts from a machete, and he's been released. And I wouldn't go near Volusia, Florida for a while. Is all I'm saying.
Can I circle back really fast?
Sure.
First off, the bike with the big wheel and the small wheel is called a penny farthing. Penny farthing.
The one that Mr. Peanut rides?
That's my second point. Cannot find a picture of Mr. Peanut on it. I don't know if that was the Mandela effect or what, but I can't find Mr. Peanut on this bike.
I think you're right, Kenzie. I don't think Mr. Peanut rides a bike, which makes Brian's comment that Mr. Peanut rides a tricycle especially weird because he's not on 3 wheels, he's on no wheels.
Now, I thought I was just nuts because I've only ever seen Mr. Peanut with a cane and an eyeglass.
Yeah, a monocle.
But I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe Brian's come across more peanuts than me, so I didn't say anything. But I'll be damned. I've spent this entire time trying to find Mr. Peanut on a penny farthing bike, and I don't think he's ever met one.
So there's a lot of Google images of Mr. Peanut on bikes, by the way.
What did
Normal
you
one,
search?
Like a Schwinn.
I put Mr. Peanut bike,
Yeah,
but he's on like a Schwinn.
that's what I'm saying.
Like a planner's bike that looks like a normal bike with same
Which
size
would make
wheels.
sense because when I Googled what does Mr. Peanut ride, the Nutmobile came up, which is a car. Nothing about a bike.
By the way, now I'm seeing the Nutmobile. It's pretty amazing.
Oh
You
my
know it's
God.
great.
I
Yeah.
want to see that on my Facebook Marketplace. I'd buy the Nutmobile.
So I don't know why you pictured Mr. Peanut on a penny farthing bike, but he hasn't been on one.
We've had different childhoods. I don't know.
No, you were the only one with that child. He's never been on it.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.